Okay. Hey, yo, people. Another episode. Obviously, we're doing something a bit different. Obviously, you man have seen the news. Lampard got sacked. It's a shame, but you know how it is in football. It is what it is, isn't it? But I brought a couple of Chelsea fans on. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, David. And obviously, we're just going to look at Lampard's time at Chelsea. We're going to look at some moments which defined his era, and ultimately how we rate his time at Chelsea. And we're gonna look at the future and look at what we're expecting from Tuchel and how far he can take the team. So you know what? Let's start. Let me pick up Let me gather your thoughts. So how are you feeling when Lampard got sacked, David?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. At first, I was angry. Like, I was so fucking angry. So imagine, I would actually sleep. Yeah. Then I woke up. Then my brother snapped me, and he never actually snaps me. Then he snapped me saying, fucking Frank Lampard is about to be sacked." I was like, "What? That has to be a joke." But then I went all over Twitter. I'd seen like he had been sacked, and I was just so fucking angry at first. But then, like, after taking some time to actually like deep it and realize it, I kind of see like as to why he was sacked and why it needed to be now.
What about you, Jack? What was your feelings on Lampard sacking?
At the start, I was sort of gearing myself up for it because results hadn't gone our way recently, and people have been calling into questions his tactics, like playing Werner on the wing, stuff like that. So I was expecting it, but at the same time, as he's a club legend, it's sad, but time will tell if it was a good thing to do or not. But we don't know yet.
For me, I'm kind of like you guys. I was kind of expecting it, but when I saw it for a split second, I was like, "Shit, already!" And you know what the maddest thing was? Yeah, you know when they sack a manager, is usually Sky Sports have reported it saying Chelsea and Lampard have parted company. But first time you're seeing Matt Law saying it first instead of Sky Sports, and I'm just like, wow, like they're saying that he's gonna get sacked. So they haven't confirmed it yet, but it's gonna happen. So I was like, "Bro, this is different." But obviously, shout out Daniel from the pod as well. He was saying how nowadays, all these independent people, they have the news first before Sky Sports. So it kind of made sense in it. But
I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it's actually always been that way. But maybe now that we're older, we're seeing it now. Rather before, you used to always get your news from Sky Sports.
Yeah, I could back that because it's just as you get older and more people grow, they get more of an audience and you see that more. So like if you're on Twitter and you obviously support Chelsea, you'll follow a few pages, you'll see that information coming before you'll get it on Sky Sports.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I hear that. But yeah, let's get into the first picture. I want to see how you man felt when this happened. You man see it?
Yep.
Oh man. Oh man.
Wow. What was this like? July 2019? Imagine. So let me start with Jack. What was your feelings when this happened?
When this happened, straight away, phoned my dad and was like, "This is probably one of the best days of my life." Up there with May 19th, 2012. One of the best days of my life.
What about you, David?
I was so fucking gassed. I was so happy. Like, cause I remember like hearing the rumors about it that he was gonna join, and in my head I was like, no fucking way. It's too early for him to join. He doesn't have enough experience yet. But when I saw this picture, I forgot all about that, and I was so happy.
It's a madness now. Like now that he's gone, when you look at it, like I remember that day. It was just like Lampard's actually coming back to Chelsea. You know,
trust me.
But it's mad because when you think about it now, obviously in hindsight, it's like already, like 1 year at Derby and he's at Chelsea. And one thing that we kind of all brushed aside was that, obviously we had the transfer ban and everything, but it's like yo, this could mess up his legacy sort of thing. And I feel like we were all so enthralled by the moment that we didn't deep that. You know, this guy, he might actually fail because he's not a top manager. Like, and I guess what we all believed was that he might be the next Pep. Like, obviously not at the same level, but it's like he comes at the start of his career at a club that he loves and takes it to, or moves it to the next level. But
even with that Pep thing, it's different because Pep was already. Pep had more experience than Lampard did. Like, even if it was small, like Pep did have some sort of experience.
Was Pep not at La Masia before that? And
yeah,
then moved to the first team?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I think he was Barca B, and then he went. Yeah. But I think they have the same level actually when you deep it, because he was at Derby. But I don't know how long Pep was. I don't know how long Pep was.
Wait, let me check.
Yeah, Barcelona B team for a year, then became Barcelona manager.
Oh yeah, shit. You're all right then.
Well, yeah.
That's mad.
But when you look
at the same time with Pep, the team he basically inherited, Iniesta, Messi, Xavi, Puyol, he inherited much better players than Lampard did.
That's actually very, very
definitely true. Definitely true. Even when we look at Zidane had ready-made superstars when he came in, like Ronaldo, Benzema, Ramos, Modric, Kroos. These are like players that are at the peak of their powers, and now you're bringing Lampard to bring in Tammy, Mason Mount, Reece James, players that have never played in the Premier League.
It's
you know, so that's you know what that was. It was a crazy day, in all honesty. But let's look at the next one. I remember watching this game, and
this game.
Fuck, see.
I remember watching this game, and I saw issues, bro. I saw issues. But yeah, Jack, what was your thoughts after this game?
Spent most of it swearing at the TV. Got very stressed, but looking back on it, the defensive issues were there from that game.
Like, when you deep it, the space in between the midfield and the defense, it was disgusting. It was disgusting. What about you, David? What were you saying after this game?
Shall I tell you the thing that actually annoys me the most about this game? And I know I'm probably going to get hate for saying this, or I'm going to get called delusional. But the thing that actually pissed me off about this game is the scoreline didn't actually reflect the full game.
I'd back that.
That game was not 4-0. It just it kind of, in a way, it showed the template of how to beat Chelsea that season. Just counterattack them. Because that I think, other than defending corners, I would say that was Chelsea's number one weakness that season.
Yeah.
Like, all you need to do, like, look at the West Ham game. Like, all you really need to do is just sit back, counter, and more often than not, you would score against Chelsea.
In the transition, because Jorginho and Kovacic are not very good at like reading the defensive game. Oh my days, one pass in between the midfield, you're in behind. It's disgusting.
And it was also annoying because Kante is you could argue, one of the best players in the world at like stopping the transition, but he was injured a lot that season.
Yeah.
So it was very, very tough.
It was, man. It was. But that game, it really emphasized some of the issues that we're really going to see as the season went on.
Even during that game, we had chances. Like,
trust me,
first 15 minutes, I think,
was it
Mount or Abraham hit the post?
I think it was Abraham, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a game of chances at that point, and we didn't take ours. United did.
And then the next one, this game, I was like, yo, this man might actually be a serious manager.
Chelsea. Oh my God.
When he beat Jose and the way we beat Tottenham, I was like, yo, he obviously he's not at the level, but he's showing potential that, yo, he could be serious. Like, What were your guys' thoughts on the game after, like, on Lampard especially?
Jack, do you want to go first?
Yeah. I thought him beating Mourinho, basically beating the master of just Chelsea. I gassed Lampard up so much during that. Then for about 3 weeks straight, just kept referring back to that match because even like look at his face in it, the passion he's showing. That's what we needed. That's what we needed in a manager.
What about you, David? What are your thoughts?
See, one of the weaknesses of Lampard was the fact that he was, people used to always say he's tactically inept.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see a game like this, for example, like we all know, like how Jose Mourinho is going to set up. He's going to sit back and then he's going to try and hit you on the counter.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like a weakness of Jose Mourinho is when you play 5 in the back against him. It works with Conte, and it also worked here. So, like, this is one of the first examples I saw with Frank Lampard that he is actually capable of being a not a top manager, but being a very, very good manager.
Yeah, that was the same with me. Like, he's showing that he's capable in the big game of making, like, the necessary tactical changes in order for us to actually, like, be ordered to compete against these sides. And I was like, yo, give this guy his players and some time. Maybe I was never going to say, like, we're going to challenge for the title in, like, 2-3 years, but I was like,
yeah,
we could move in a positive direction under Lampard after this game.
Yeah.
You got anything more to say, Jack?
I was going to say something, but it just went out of my head. Just continue on.
All right. So, yeah, we just got a couple more just to look at before we really have an overview of Lampard. Which was the last game? Actually, we'll go for both. Let's look at this one. What was our thoughts after this game? What was your thoughts, David?
Anger. I was so fucking angry. Like, you know this, Josh. You've known me for years, innit? Mm-hmm. The one team I cannot take losing to is Arsenal. I hate Arsenal, everything about Arsenal. I hate their fans. And it's not even the fact that we won the luck that pisses me off. It's the fact that Arteta saw there was a weakness in the way Chelsea had set up.
Mm-hmm.
Even I could see it as well. And for the fact that Arteta saw it, even I could see it, and Lampard didn't see it, that's what really, really, really pisses me off about this game.
Mm.
They were doing, they were just chucking up long balls the whole game.
Especially behind Aspilicueta as well.
Yeah, and it just worked. And I knew from the moment Pulisic, like, was taken off injured, I knew he wasn't winning it.
What about you, Jack? What was your thoughts on the game?
I can agree with the Pulisic thing, but as soon as Kovacic got a yellow card, 100% straight away. Actually, I told my friend at that point, put on a bet Kovacic get sent off.
Well, you saw it.
It eventually happened. Saw it coming. He's a man you don't really want on a yellow card, but
it's true.
That game, honestly.
Can I say something? What's the referee's name quickly?
Oh, who was it? One second, I'll check here.
It's Martin Taylor, something like that. I forgot the name.
Anthony Taylor.
Fuck that guy. Fuck Anthony Taylor. Because he sabotaged. No, okay, Arsenal were the better team. Let me not do that. But fam, fuck that guy, because that was one of the worst refereeing performances I think I've ever seen in a final. We deserve to lose. Let me not even be salty, because we deserve to lose. They were the better team. But that stupid referee did not make things easier.
English referees as a whole are honestly
awful.
Very inept.
Awful. Terrible.
They have such a bad reputation, man. It's sad. It's sad.
It's deserved, though, at this point, because they have VAR and they can't use it right. Like in Germany, France, it works to a high standard. because their standard of refereeing is superior to ours.
Mhm.
Like, you can't expect improvement in a game if your referees aren't going to improve with the technology.
Like,
Yeah.
remember the fucking Chelsea Man United game at Stamford Bridge?
Oh, where we lost 2-0.
We lost. We shouldn't. I'm not gonna lie, personally. I don't think we should have lost that game because I remember Maguire fucking kicked this guy in the dick. That's why
Batshuayi.
get red carded. Something else happened. We scored. We actually scored a goal. We
We
scored a
scored
goal.
two. We scored two.
We scored 2 goals. I think the first goal. The first goal wasn't meant to be
Zuma and
allowed.
Giroud.
Yeah, the
Zuma
second
and
one.
Giroud, yeah.
I remember someone pushed. I think someone pushed Aspilicueta, who pushed another Man United player, and then we scored.
Yeah.
And they disallowed that. Ever since that
man.
day, I've fucking hated VAR. I actually despise VAR so much.
But next game, because we got a couple left. But this game, I think this game made me realize that in the big stages, I don't think we could rely on Lampard to be the guy.
But about this game though, fair enough. I would admit it was a bad performance. But let's not act like Bayern were just not built different in that Champions League run, especially.
Bro, we shouldn't be losing 7-1 over 2 legs, man.
Yeah.
Barcelona lost 8-2 in one game.
I
Would you argue
can't
Barcelona have a
accept
better
it.
team than we did?
I can't accept it, man. I can't. And you know
I'm
me,
not making
I always like
excuses.
to
I
see.
agree with you.
You know me, I always like to see things from two different sides, but I can't vouch for this, man. That was shocking. Like, this was a game that I looked and I said, this was a game I looked and I said, I don't know if I can rely on Lampard to take us to that level. You know them ones. I still thought he's a decent manager, but then that, like, against the big boys in the Champions League, I couldn't see it.
Would you not say though that even with that comes with experience? You can't just expect him in his second year of management to take on Bayern Munich and not even beat them, but at least fucking lose with class. Because I agree with you, the way we lost was bad. Like we are Chelsea. We're not a fucking Arsenal football club. We don't lose like in that manner. So I get you. That did actually really annoy me.
See, the thing about this game, the one that's on the screen, wasn't this the second leg?
Yeah.
We had chances in this game.
Oh my God, that's very
which
true.
happens all the time. We have the chances, but we don't take them.
That was
the match that would piss me off more would have been the first leg at home.
We did have chances.
Alphonso Davies destroyed us.
Absolutely destroyed.
That man destroyed the whole team.
Yeah.
And you can't even really use any experience at that point because it was Reece James against him. The whole team just played shit.
It was. Now, what you were saying, David, about the inexperience, I do agree with you, but it was just like I have to look at what we can achieve now and within the next short-term like future, and I just couldn't see Lampard making that progression from being, I would say, at that time, a decent Premier League manager to a European, at least able to compete like against the European big boys. You know, I just couldn't see it after this game because I wasn't expecting him to beat Bayern, but the performance was just so bad. It was like we just looked so open.
No, this is true, you know.
It was disgusting, man. It was actually disgusting.
But you do have to also give credit to that Bayern Munich team because you can make an argument. They were one of the best Champions League teams in the past fucking 20 years.
That Bayern Munich team was just a juggernaut.
That was different.
Mm-hmm. But to happier times, and this photo kind of represented Chelsea fans at that point. After this was the 3-1 win against Leeds.
Yeah.
People were saying title challenge.
Yeah.
Chelsea can do this and that. You know, how time has changed really took her just a massive spin. But yeah, Jack, what was your thoughts after the 3-1 win against Leeds, and where did you think Chelsea could go from there, or you believed Chelsea could do?
I was wanting to hope for a title challenge, but with Werner, the chance Werner had, where he basically put it onto the bar on the line.
One of the worst misses of all time.
I've ever seen.
That is the moment I was like, we can only get so far when we have a striker who's playing like that. Like with Giroud playing good, obviously Zuma. That's all well and good, but you can't rely on Giroud for a full game. You would prefer like Werner to be firing on like all cylinders. But that was a weakness I saw at that point. Even conceding the leads at that point, we conceded really early on. That was a stupid goal to give away. The signs were there, but I was still remaining optimistic that we would at least challenge for top 2, top 3. And obviously didn't materialize.
What about you, David? What was your thoughts at this time?
Obviously, because we watched this game together. Yeah, I was very, 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 very gassed. But in hindsight, I regret that because I didn't see the weaknesses there. And one thing I've always said about Chelsea is Chelsea will always start off the beginning of the season very, very well. And it's always during the Christmas time. They just always seem to fall off. I don't know what it is. Like, always during Christmas time, we seem to fall off. But, like, when I saw this game, because, like, one thing everyone always says about Leeds is that they'll outrun you, they'll outwork you, they have more energy than everyone else. But even in a game like this, like, we outworked Leeds, which is something I was actually very, very impressed about. But even, like, going back to Timo Werner, like, you can argue that guy has not been the same player ever since that 6-0 defeat to Spain.
Yeah.
He's not been the same player at all. I think it's just a confidence thing.
There's another moment with Werner that makes me sort of question it, and that was when he played for Leipzig against Besiktas. Time he had to get took off at half-time because the fans were too loud, essentially. He got dizziness and stuff like that. That's really put a question on Werner for me.
What game was that?
Yeah, that's what I think people have...
It was a couple of years ago. I'll actually check when it was.
Yeah, what were you saying, David?
That's the thing people actually kind of said about Werner. He's a very sensitive person. Like, I remember, what year was it? He was supposed to join Bayern Munich. I can't remember the year, but he was supposed to join Bayern Munich, literally about to join, said his goodbyes to everybody in the Leipzig dressing room. And I think Bayern Munich last minute cancelled the deal. So he was like very, very upset like with Bayern Munich, and he never trusted them again.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that actually happened with Liverpool, incidentally. He, like, there was rumours about him and Liverpool in January of last year. They was telling him to wait, but he didn't want to wait because he was afraid of like the Bayern Munich situation, that he was afraid that would happen again.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's just his character. He's just a sensitive guy.
Yeah, I checked the date it was on. It was 27th of September, 2017.
Wow.
Got took off after 32 minutes for noisiness.
Wow. But yeah, my thoughts on that game, I can't lie, I was gassed as well. I thought maybe a potential title challenge as well. So I'm not gonna try and act like I was some guy that saw the future. I was gassed. And the performances were there. You know, one thing though, when I do realize the performances actually weren't great, but they were very comfortable. Like, we weren't blitzing sides, but we were looking very comfortable. So you kind of had that feeling that, yo, this side could go another level. That's what kind of made me.
Was there.
Yeah. But I mean, we see now it never happened. And then the final one, and really the game that just led to everything was this game. So, David, what was your thoughts on this one?
Oh my fucking God. I was in Nigeria in this game. I literally, imagine, like, incidentally, I didn't get back in the house till like a minute before the third goal. So it was 2-0. I was sitting down. I was optimistic. Then I saw Saka score that bullshit. I knew, shit can only go downhill from there. Because even in that game, fam, it was 3-1. We had an opportunity. Thiago Silva had an opportunity to score. I'm pretty sure it was a free header. I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then we had a fucking penalty. So I need to make the game close. And Arsenal then had little to no confidence. So if you literally had put some pressure on them, I'm not saying we would have scored, but they would have been a possibility that we could have at least gotten a draw out of the game. Like, I didn't watch the first half. I'm assuming you guys did. Like, what did you think of the game?
A little poor. It was shocking, man.
Yep. Honestly, the whole game, as soon as that first goal went in, it was a write-off.
Seriously, was it that bad?
It was poor, man.
One of the worst performances I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible, man. There was no, and I always say this. Well, Arsenal were better than us, but the level that they were showing wasn't something incredible. It was like when I watched Arsenal against United. United were just poor rather than Arsenal being great, and that's how it was for this game.
Yeah.
If we obviously if buts and maybes, it don't matter. But if you could see if Chelsea raised their level, they could push aside Arsenal. But it just felt like there was no intensity, it was very poor, man. It was very poor, and it kind of just emphasized the end of Lampard's reign, really. You know. Any final thoughts on the game?
On the equivalent of this game, I'd say it was the equivalent of a relegation 6-pointer. The level was that bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was honestly shocking. And I have to agree with David on the first point when we first spoke about Arsenal. Fuck Arsenal.
Fuck Arsenal 1,000 times.
But they took their chances in that game, and we certainly didn't with that Jorginho penalty.
I'm just saying, like, it's peak when Xhaka scored against us, scored free kicks against us.
Free kick.
I nearly turned the TV off at that point.
I didn't watch it. Was it a good free kick? I didn't see it.
It was a great free kick, to be fair, but you really shouldn't be getting beat from there as a keeper.
Oh, also, I've always said this. Josh, I've always said this.
You want to talk
I'm
about
not on Mendy.
We'll get to him. Don't worry. We'll get to him. We'll get to him. All right. Because we're going to talk about Lampard signings. Okay. But yeah, to actually move on from this, let us talk about Lampard's reign in totality. So let's all give him the props that he did well and the criticisms that we have. So I'll go first. So for Lampard, obviously the bringing in of the youth, obviously it was forced, but he did integrate them quite well. At times, I have to blame him though for overplaying these guys. And you know what? One thing, people blame him for overplaying Mount, but no one ever remembers what he did to Tammy. During December, when Tammy was on top form last season?
Yeah.
Around November, December to January, Tammy had an ankle injury. And he played through it with injections. And you saw after that, Tammy's form was
not the same.
He went down. And you see how people talk about Tammy now. No one rates him. And it's not Lampard's fault completely because Tammy has to take the blame as well. But he's young in it, so he would always want to play. But we saw Tammy's level absolutely dropped. And he didn't change him. He did not change him. And he's done that so many times. Like you saw against the Arsenal game, he brought back Chilwell and
Reece James, and they were clearly injured.
They were so poor. And he's done that so many times where, obviously, I do understand the alternatives of Alonso and Emerson are not levels, but you have to think in the long term of, okay, I'm not going to have these players now, but I'm going to have them fit up for the next game. So let me just take the risk now and at least have some faith in the players. So that would be a criticism.
Wait, should I tell you what also, sorry, just to interject, should I tell you what doesn't also fucking make sense? Remember, he does that. Remember, there was a point in the season, every press conference, they would ask, is Ziyech fit? He'd be like, oh, no, he's almost getting there, but he's not 100% fit. Is Pulisic fit? He'd say the same thing. He's almost getting there, but he's not 100% fit. But I didn't even know that about the whole Abraham situation. I just thought he was just tired, exhausted, really. I didn't know he was actually injured. So, you could say that's a criticism of him as well.
Criticism.
Why is he doing it with some players, but he's not doing it with others?
Big thing. But people only focus on Mount because obviously Mount's the main person, innit? But he did the same to Tammy. Let me even just screen share the thing. I think this is it.
Oh,
but he had an issue with his ankle.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Yeah, you see now November. Yeah, you see it.
Yeah.
That's his lack of experience.
And you see, at the time, he had started every game, but he suffered a hip injury as well.
Oh yeah, I know about the hip injury.
I can remember the hip injury, but I can't remember. Could never remember that injury. I thought he was just take a dip in form.
Nah, I think he started to take a dip in form, but then this was where it was. Yeah. He had a troublesome ankle injury. Yeah. But that's one thing. Lampard likes to kind of force things too much. That would be a criticism. But one thing with the top four, and maybe I will bring all of you guys in for this one, was for the top four achievement, when I look back at it, I was one of those people that said he did a crazy, amazing job. But when I do deep it, I think he did a good job, like a decent job, like he did his job sort of thing. And obviously you see now the board have came out and said top four was just a minimum anyway. But one thing I give him credit for is that he lost Hazard and he had Kepa. And I don't like doing the putting blames on players, but Kepa was terrible in it.
He
brought in
the cap attacks is unbelievable.
It's true, because I think he has a minus XG of like 15 or something like that. Something high or stupid like that.
Fucking shit.
But, you know, he brought in the youth players in who hadn't played Premier League football consistently. And we looked like we can compete against anybody, really, except from the Man United game where we got done. But in every single game that we played, you wouldn't say that we looked totally out of our depth.
You can say we competed.
Yeah.
Even
so that's one thing I give him credit for was the top four. But what was your overall thoughts on him getting top four? Did you think it was a massive achievement, or did you think he kind of just did his job? What did you think, Jack?
Personally, I think it was a mix of both. He done well to get it with the squad we had, but at the same time, it was one of the worst top four challenges from any team. Like every team challenging for third, fourth were terrible. United, us, Leicester, we all dropped so many points. It was one of the most stressful, top four challenges I've ever seen. So he done well, but at the same time, if he hadn't got it, it would have been much, much worse. Because it would have showed how flawed we were. Like games like Sheffield United, what did that finish? Was it 3-0?
Yeah.
Or 3-1?
That was so bad. That was terrible, man. That was terrible.
Games like that, if we would have missed out in top four, those would have been pivotal on why we missed it. In the end, I feel like we were lucky to actually get a top four.
There was some element of luck, I won't lie. But one thing I want to say, because people do mention about he got 66 points, which is the worst for the top four, or under Chelsea, under Abramovich. We have to be honest. Yeah. Last season's team was the worst team under Abramovich. So
my God, thank you.
100%.
So if you actually look at it, it's about right, the points that he got. Because people forget, this guy lost Eden Hazard, and people like to just say, okay, yeah, he lost Eden Hazard. Eden Hazard can contribute 50% of goals last season. People like to try and make it.
The season he left.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, he contributed to. In the Premier League, Hazard's last season, he contributed to 50% of our goals.
Exactly. Some people like to make it seem like it's tiny. Like his impact was just, I know Hazard was a good player for you, but come on. But it's like people are deep in. Hazard is a world-class player. And Chelsea didn't have a single world-class player last season because Kante was out for most of the season, which is another big thing. So you don't have Kante, you don't have Hazard, you don't have a quality goalkeeper. Come on. 66 points when you're looking at it is about right. I blame him for the defense because he kept changing it. That was on Lampard. That's not really...
That was bad.
That's not to do with the individuals, because individually all four centre-backs are not bad. I think Zuma's the best out of all of them, but the four centre-backs are not bad centre-backs. But if you look at it in totality, he probably did, like how I was saying, just about right. You get what I'm saying? He didn't overachieve, but he didn't underachieve, in my opinion. But what do you think, David?
See, with all this shit, you have to look into the context. The beginning of the season, people thought Chelsea wouldn't finish inside the top six. I was seeing a lot of that.
I was personally one of those people. Yeah. I didn't have that expectation.
People thought Chelsea would finish somewhere 8th or something. I don't know. But and also the fact that, as you said, we had no Hazard. We had no Kante as well. We had to incorporate youth. I don't think it's doing it justice to say he did what he was expected to do. Because you have to also put into consideration it was his second year in management at the time. So before his last season with Derby, he hadn't managed the team.
Yeah, He'd only done his coaching badges the year before that as
Like,
well.
he literally only just done his coaching badges as well. So, like, I agree with you. That top 4 race was probably the worst it's been since maybe the season before that, when like we were 6th, and you had like Arsenal and Man United above us. They were points ahead of us, and somehow we finished 3rd. I'd probably say that is probably the worst top 4 race I've seen.
Yeah, those two were terrible, but at the same time, this season isn't much better.
No, this season's awful as well.
This season is so bad. There's like 7 teams challenging for it.
Like, it's just I think that's just how the Premier League is now. I'm not gonna lie. But even like because like you could argue like the top 6 traditional sides, I don't personally think that's a thing anymore. Like,
no, the money aspect of it has made it so it's not
gone.
no longer a thing.
So like even if I would replace. Actually, you know what? We don't need to talk about that now. Let's just keep it to Chelsea. But as I was saying, like I think you have to say he did a good job. Like a good job for the things he had to work against.
So let's all like list off like what was the things that we like that Lampard did and what was the bad things. So anybody can go like what were the things that we liked about Lampard and the things that we disliked.
In terms of a dislike, it's not much of a dislike, but it's more the over-reliance on Mount. Not the playing of Mount, but the over-reliance. Like, he would never get a rest, either. Him and Abraham, obviously. But that's something that I personally... Because when Mount went through a couple of months of really bad form.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Wait.
And he was still getting played, which... Fair play to him, it got him a bit out of it, but I feel a rest for Mount would have been much better.
I agree with you with that Mount thing, but me personally, I feel like the reason why he was so out of form is because I think he was just playing them on the wing. And
yeah, 100%. That's another thing that's bad about him.
Are you talking about this season or last season?
Winger.
Are you talking about this season or last season?
Both.
Yeah, he did that at times last season, yeah.
He was just awful. He's not a winger. I think he's kind of improved. You've seen the improvements now, like taking people on.
Yeah.
But last season, he couldn't do that. Like, he couldn't take people on. That's not his game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Even now, I see like people still complain about the over reliance on Mount. But do you know, like this season, you could actually argue he's been our best player.
Yeah.
He's been very consistent.
Like, 100% actually.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like Josh. You know, of all people know, I hated Mason Mount. I despised the guy. But it was after the fucking West Brom game, I slowly started to deepen. He actually is a good player, and he's very integral to what we are building here at Chelsea. Like, even look at the Wolves game, like Tuchel's first game. You could clearly see the difference when he came on in intensity and in the way we were playing.
Yeah.
So I think he's very, very integral. I kind of understand why Lampard was playing him. Not as much as he did, but to a high extent.
But there's also that and the fact you don't want to burn him out.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true, because eventually we'll catch up to
him. If we're relying on him, that's fair. But if he can get support, that is much needed. So it's not just a constant supply of Mount has to do X, Y, and Z. Just feed off other lanes and stuff.
You know, one thing that I just thought of now, when people start, this isn't even about criticism of Lampard now, it's about when people criticize Lampard, when they say patterns of play. And I really deep here, I feel like that's such a bullshit term. Like, what the fuck is patterns of play exist, of course, but like, what do people actually mean by the team doesn't have a pattern of play? Because most people, what's Liverpool's pattern of play?
Cross it, inshallah.
That's not a pattern of play, bro. That's not a pattern of play.
The only pattern of play Liverpool would probably have would be the gegenpress.
No, that's a style of play. So that's
true.
They want to push themselves.
If they're including that in a pattern of play, then fair. But if not, then they don't have one. No team has one.
No, exactly. Like, a pattern of play is kind of just like the rotation of movement between players. So you see how a player might go out wide, someone might go inside, and then what's it called? You make a pass and someone runs in behind, sort of thing. It's just like the movement. Every team has a pattern of play. So that idea of Lampard doesn't have a pattern of play, it's just a Twitter thing that's bullshit, bruv.
That's more
what
down
he
to the
said.
players themselves, though.
I feel like, but I'm not gonna lie. I feel like maybe they've confused pattern of play with style of play.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
maybe,
think
yeah.
that could be the case.
Maybe, yeah.
Because you know,
I
people
do
on Twitter, they don't have brain cells.
Because obviously, I understand when people say I don't understand what Lampard's trying to do. I understand that, but when people start saying there's no patterns of play, you're just using phrases that you don't understand. Because even me, I don't truly understand what a pattern of play is, but I'm not going to use it because I don't know what it means.
Yeah.
And then if you ask people like
It's
what
just
I just
Twitter,
said, what's a pattern of play of Liverpool's? They say swinging crosses, bro. Everybody swings fucking crosses, so everybody has a pattern of play then.
Yeah, because of Liverpool.
Like literally.
Liverpool started that shit.
Literally. But anyway, any other criticisms or things that we like that Lampard did?
CrossFit, inshallah. I love Lampard. You know I love Lampard, but fam, I cannot take that. And also, another reason I'm not finding excuses for Werner because he's been shit this season. But you can clearly see the way we play does not play to our strengths. Why do you think Giroud has scored so many goals this season? It's because literally the way we play is perfect for a striker like him. Just crossing vibes. That's literally all it was.
Can I say something though?
So many times. Yeah, go on.
No, you know what you're saying. I do agree, but now when you look at it, what we've been told about some of these players not being his signings, isn't it? You kind of have to blame the club then because I don't think he actually wanted Werner.
No, I think he did.
You think?
I think it was a mix of both because Werner wanted him. And obviously, if the board's saying we want Werner, Lampard will then look at that. If he doesn't want him, he'd speak about it. I think.
Should I tell you what I think Lampard did want him? Because I remember them talking about it in the February. Czech and Lampard flew to Germany to speak to Werner. So if we didn't want him, I don't think he would have done that. Me personally, I think Havertz. He didn't want Havertz. I don't think that was his sizing. I think
Havertz was just a marquee signing. Like, we've signed him. We're showing ambition.
I think the club just wanted him. That's all it is.
Because you know why I said that? Because I even just look at his playing days. This guy loved to play with Drogba, like a guy he can play off, which is why I think he loved Tammy so much. Because obviously Tammy's not Drogba, but Tammy does have the ability to link up play and hold the ball up.
Yeah.
Something Werner doesn't have. Werner's technical ability is pretty poor. Like
it's terrible.
It's pretty poor. And that's why I'm thinking.
That actually confidence, not gonna lie.
I don't know, man. There's basics that you still have even when you don't have confidence, man.
Yeah, his first touch is honestly shocking.
No, but even remember, like fucking the Southampton goals he scored now. That what he did for both of them, it requires some type of technical ability.
Yeah, I know.
So again, I think Werner is just a case that he has no confidence.
Yeah, his confidence is like
random thing. That's why I rate a player like Bruno Fernandes. Although I don't think like he's a top 5 when it comes to like this ability. I don't think he's top 5 in the league. But when it comes to like the mentality, being effective, to me he's the best. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
that's why I rate him so much.
I heard it.
Another thing about a negative.
What you say, Jack?
A negative. It's not really to do with. Well, it is, but it isn't at the same time. The player politics at Chelsea.
Oh, fuck Rudiger as well, by the way. I forgot to say.
That is a negative because it was the same at Chelsea when Lampard was playing under Villas-Boas. He never came out and supported him. And now the players are doing the same to him.
But, Jack, a problem I even have with that is, I agree with you. Player power is toxic and it needs to stop. But, like, I know it annoys me, whoever does it, because you shouldn't do that to a manager. Something that fucking annoys me even more is the fact that it was the Deadwood.
Yeah,
the Deadwood that was complaining. Like, say if it was Thiago Silva or Aspie or even Havertz or Werner.
Yeah, I can understand it, but players like Alonso, Kepa.
How dare you? Alonso, Kepa, bro. Kepa of all people. Why are you complaining? Because it's not as if he didn't play you. We had to suffer it. Even Lampard suffered it. Like, I understand sometimes he benched you, but he actually played you that season.
Kepa should have been dropped when he refused to come off against City. Should have been gone.
Should have gone from that moment. That moment, he should have been gone.
Yeah, the player politics at Chelsea. I mean, it happens in every club, though. Like, you look at United with, they said with Pogba and all them, man. I mean, it's just a thing that happens everywhere. The players will automatically be the ones favoured because you can't sack 25 players. You sack the manager because it's the manager's job at the end of the day to keep the morale of the team high.
Even the thing with that, though, I feel like, every club has player politics. But me personally, I just feel like with Chelsea, it's just worse.
The only team I could say is close to Chelsea would be Real Madrid.
That's it. But even Real Madrid, they would still kind of keep the manager. Like Mourinho, they didn't sack Mourinho. Mourinho just left.
Yeah, that was an agreement, I think, yeah.
It's like when you have the money, you're paying players that much of money, they'll think they have more control and sway over anything.
Mm-hmm. But let's not...
It's a positive and a curse to modern football.
Yeah, but let's not focus too much on the player politics because, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's unfortunate, but, I mean, you can't sack 25 players as it is. But
right.
I think you've just really focused on the negatives. Any more positives?
We talked about incorporating youth.
Yeah, we kind of did, yeah.
A positive is just Billy Gilmore, nothing else.
Billy Gilmore.
Billy Gilmore is so good. I've been rating that man since 2017. Rangers.
Yeah, he's good. He's good, man. He's good.
Actually, I know a positive, I can say Frank Lampard has had. I mean, it's to do with youth, but now I heard like with Chelsea, something they said with Tuchel that he needs to do, he needs to incorporate youth. And me personally, I feel like if it wasn't for the influence that Lampard had, I don't think Chelsea would like have that be an objective for Tuchel to try and do.
Yeah. Like Lampard and Jody Morris have been integral in that.
Yeah, they have.
One thing though, I feel like the club were always leaning towards youth, but just the way Lampard did it kind of pushed it further. But I feel like the club have always wanted youth because remember under Hudson-Odoi and Loftus-Cheek, there was a big thing about getting them into the team. So I feel like there's always been a want to bring in the youth, but I feel like Lampard probably fast-tracked that with how well he did. And Chelsea have saved so much money from...
Under Lampard, with the transfer ban, it was more of a needs to than a wants to.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. I don't think they wanted to do that. Because even the way they are with managers, like, for you to do something like that, you need to give a manager time. And we all know that's not what Chelsea are.
Yeah.
They're not going to give a manager time. So me personally, I feel like it's because they had to do that. That's why we incorporate so much youth.
But anyway, you know what? Let's do the final section about Lampard and let's give it a rating out of 10, his time at Chelsea. So I'll go first. I don't know if this is going to sound harsh, but because I actually rate Lampard as a decent manager. I think people disrespect him saying he's a poor manager in this. I think he's a decent manager and he showed at times that he is tactically capable. But if I'm to be really honest, his time out at Chelsea is probably a 5 out of 10, in my opinion. I think the first season was a 6 or 6.5, and this season has been like a 4. So I have to give him there's nothing else, yeah. But what about you, David?
I wouldn't give him, I think maybe, I understand it, but I think maybe 5 is a bit too low. I would give him a 7. And the only reason why, no, hear me out. The only reason why I'd give him a 7 and not a rating as low as 5 is because with the first season, again, like he was inexperienced and he did manage to get us 4th, even though people did not think Chelsea would finish in the top 6. And even with this season, although yes, I agree, we fell off bad. There was still an indication that this club had, the team, we have a potential to actually do something. We showed it, we had the potential. And also, you have to admit, incorporating 7 players or however many players it was into a first team is not something that's easy to do. It's not easy to do.
It's not.
Especially like if you're a manager that has next to no experience. So that's why me personally, I think maybe 5 is a bit too harsh.
Yeah.
What about you, Jack? What's your rating for Lampard?
Personally, I'd go in the middle of that because the first season, obviously a positive, and like the integration was good, but it's less. I'd give him a 6 because it's not tactically inept. It's more tactical immaturity at times.
Yeah.
That caused it.
Mm, I agree.
I personally feel if he had a few more years, he maybe derbied low level Premier League and built his way up would have been a better thing to give us. Because then it would give him the experience of working with players instead of just throwing him in at the deep end. So I wouldn't rate him as low as a 5, but I reckon about a 6 is round about where he would have been, is what I would personally give him.
No, I do understand that. I think that makes sense. You know what? I just thought of an idea. Let's have a list of the 5 top performing Chelsea players under Lampard. So, who's 5th, would you say?
Oh. I don't know, maybe Reece James, or would you rank him higher?
I'd put him about 4th.
Yeah, maybe 4th, actually. I don't know.
I'm thinking. I got a couple
But is
names.
it about consistency or when they were at their best? Which one is it?
I mean, is whatever your framework is, but we can just say consistency. So, over his time, who were the top performing players?
You can make an argument. Giroud is up there. I'm not gonna lie. I'd probably place Giroud 5th. Not gonna lie.
Giroud, yeah, 5th is right for, I'd say, for Giroud.
Where would we put Kovacic?
Maybe 4th, actually. No.
I'd put him 3rd.
I would put him 3rd. Even though he was our player of the season, to be fair.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe 3rd or 4th, one of the two.
Yeah. I wouldn't see any problem with 4th either, so.
Who's another one? Where would you put Mount? He's not top in my opinion because
I'd say number 2.
Yeah, second is probably best.
So Giroud's 4th. Giroud's 5th. Who's 4th?
Reece
James. Yeah.
Giroud. James. So 3rd was who?
Kovacic.
Wait. We need. Wait, can I remove someone or can I?
Yeah, who are you thinking? Who are you thinking?
Because me personally, I would put Pulisic number 1, but we also need to incorporate Tammy Abraham. I'm basing it off last season. Because last season, he was literally our team. I don't want to hear
after lockdown.
After lockdown,
After lockdown, he carried our team.
After lockdown, he was.
But if you're including the whole tenure,
no, he's not. I
wouldn't put him.
It's actually quite hard.
Like, the only reason why I say he's number 1 is literally because, like,
I know what you're saying. Like his peak. His peak
performance-wise, is higher than everyone else. Yeah, I don't think 100%. It's close personally.
But it's if he can get to that level consistently, is.
It's actually quite hard. You know what? I think I might put Kovacic as number 1 performing player.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Over consistency, I'm just saying.
I don't think he was consistent though. That's the thing.
This season, he definitely hasn't been, but last season, him and Mount were 2 of our most consistent players, in my opinion.
I'd say James was better than Mount last season.
Reece James? Nah, I don't agree with that.
No, this season is where Reece came into his own.
I don't think last season. I think last season he was still trying to.
Yeah, he was on the fringes.
Yeah, but this season, even this season, you can make an argument. He's England's best right back. I mean, personally,
he's the potential to be England's most complete right back.
I still think he's the best. Actually, no, maybe second. Yeah, I'd say second after maybe Kyle Walker. But me personally, I don't think you could put Trent not in his league, but I don't think he's better than Trent personally.
You know, I forgot a player that we forgot. Hey, William was good under Lampard.
Nah, fuck that guy, bro.
Nope, no, fuck William.
No, fuck William.
William hit aside. William was solid under Lampard.
What makes you say that? Because he was scoring penalties that put.
No. His performances were actually good under Lampard.
That's the thing, though. William, if he can perform consistently, I'd give him that. But he essentially only played well for like 3 weeks every season just to try and get a contract.
That's literally all it was. You notice that was his contract season.
Maybe
that's what best he was.
But I mean, I feel like he was quite consistent last season.
I don't think he was. He was just a workhorse. I'll give him that. He's work
Yeah,
rate.
he has great working abilities and stuff,
I mean-
but I wouldn't put him in my top
when he's
five.
playing for a good club, because you actually have to work hard to get in the team for a good club. That's why he like playing shit at Arsenal, because Arsenal are
They
an
just
L
give him
team.
350k a week, and he's
Yeah,
just like, "Yep, that's me."
That's a retirement home. So he's not actually going to care for them, is he?
Would you say Zuma was pretty consistent? Like he didn't really make mistakes under Lampard.
No, he did still. He made some mistakes.
He made
Yeah,
them.
the first season he didn't do the best under Lampard.
I don't think it was that bad. I think it was
First
I
half
think
of
unfair.
the
it's that
season,
bad.
maybe.
Because first season, I swear he wasn't really playing. It was like really
No, he
rude
just
and,
came back from loan as well.
He played
Everton.
first half of the season next to Tomori, but then Lampard
Wait.
changed it up.
He was shit first season. Not his first season, like first half of the season.
Yeah,
No, he wasn't. Him
Yeah.
and Tomori were solid.
The Sheffield game, he cost us that game.
That was he scored an own goal.
He scored an own goal. I think he was at fault for the second goal as well, or the first goal. I
even
can't remember
against
what it was.
United, he gave away the penalty,
He
and
was
then
bad against United as well.
No, at the start, I remember actually. Yeah, you're right. At the start, he was pretty shaky, but I
he
remember
came into his own midway for the season. Like,
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. And then Lampard took him out of the team for some reason, which was
yeah.
For Christensen.
Oh,
I hate that guy. I hate that guy as well, bro.
Let's not get into hate of players, man. I'm not.
rid of
nah.
Tomori just doesn't sit right
Oh
with me.
my God.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Let's not get into all this politics about the players anyway. So, I mean, that's it that we can talk about Lampard. It's sad that he's gone now, but he has some good moments. But ultimately, the club have to move on to better and bigger things. But what about the future? What are we saying about Tuchel? What's our expectation for this season, Jack?
I'm feeling optimistic. This season, essentially, in my opinion, we should write it off. We should still try, but I think top four is gone. Personally, actually, that maybe not because of how bad everyone's playing. It's still a possibility.
Yeah.
But if we don't get it, I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't do Europa League, man. I can't do Europa League.
Oh,
No.
I'd rather finish like 9th than be Europa League again.
Can't do that competition no more. But yeah, David, what's your expectation for Tuchel?
Do you want the hooliganism take or do you want the normal take? Which one
I
do you
want
want?
the normal take.
Okay. I think this season, I think we can finish top four. I think it's very, very possible. Like, literally, look at Man United. Like, people say Man United is shit. Look where they are now
Yeah.
at the beginning of the season. I feel like with this, like the Premier League this season, all you need is a consistent run of games and you'll be back in the position you need to be.
That is true, because at the start of the season, we went on a run. We were top. I think
Exactly.
was it after the Leeds game, and then we just dropped off.
You just dropped off.
We're like,
Tough, man.
Like, this season is literally just about consistency.
yeah, it's this season based on form. It's not based on actual merit. Like
Like, even
the teams
look at-
aren't. It's not a natural position for teams to be.
Yeah, like, look at Man City. Man City were awful. Like, they were dog shit at the beginning of the season. And now, look at them now.
They
We know
literally
why?
just went on a 17-win streak.
They've just gone on a run. Like, we all knew Man City are capable of doing it, but it's just about, to me, it's just about consistency. And I think, hot take, but I think maybe the next 2 seasons, Chelsea can win the Premier League. I'm not going to say we will. I think we can.
It's possible because the
I
team that
agree
we've
with
just
that.
bought, the team that we bought is very good. But I think the issue with the team is that there's just no span. But you build that over time, like
Yeah,
we're getting used to
give
the
the
players and
manager
stuff.
more
But who
experience.
thinks
and
is capable of like being this generation's Drogba, Terry, Lampard?
Yeah, Jack, you go first.
what was the question?
Like, who do you think is capable in this team of being the next Drogba, Terry, Lampard span?
Personally, I would want Tomori, but in terms of midfielder, I really want Billy Gilmore to come through. I can see him, if he keeps to the level he's progressing at, I can see him being a spine in our team for years.
I rate Billy Gilmore. The only thing about him, he's just too small. That's
Yeah,
literally the only thing.
yeah,
about
I
him.
can agree with that.
That don't matter, bro.
No, because in the position he's playing, like, he can get bodied off the ball easily.
Bro,
especially.
remember players like Santi, all these men, small, but when you got the footballing brain, nah.
Was Santi a defensive midfielder though?
He played in the double pivot with Coquelin.
But me personally, I think his strongest position is when he's a lone 6.
A lone six.
Yeah, I think when he's a lone six, that's his best.
As a lone six, he does thrive there.
I don't remember we played Leicester in the FA Cup, and he played with Kante in a double pivot. He got bullied. That's why they took him off.
I think one thing is that because he's young, he's gonna develop. But yeah, what are you gonna say, Jack?
With the Leicester situation, most players get bullied against Ndidi.
Nah, Ndidi's a tank.
Yeah,
Ndidi's a machine.
Mm-hmm.
Like against Liverpool with Fabinho.
He did it. He held his own, to be fair.
Gilmore, he more than held his own. Got man of the match.
Mm-hmm. Got 2 man of the matches, one against Everton as well.
Yeah.
But I think one thing we all need to be careful with how we put expectations on young players. I was guilty of it last season where I got too excited, but this season I'm a bit more calmer with it. Like,
who
he's
was you
good.
excited about? Who was you excited about?
Well, last season.
Yeah.
Hey, I was saying some outrageous shouts last season.
What were you saying?
I was saying Tammy was the new Drogba, Mount's the new Lampard. I was excited, but I learned, this is not how football works. It's not how football works. And yeah, I pat myself. So I kind of just know, he's showing some good form, but let's see how he does over the long run. And it shouldn't be a thing where we're relying on young players anyway to come in and do things. It has to be a balance.
I think at the same time, we shouldn't really be looking for our next Drogba, Lampard, Terry, and let them base themselves on what they can be.
That's exactly
we're holding them to too high of a standard.
Mm-hmm.
Let them progress by themselves and not compare them to our greatest players ever.
When I say that, I wasn't comparing. I said
no. I know that. It's just it's just like a general thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's true.
Like comparisons can really ruin a player.
Yeah, it's
like Hachi Mastor was going to be the next Neymar. He's at Serie C now.
Bro, everybody's bringing this guy's name up now. Like it's mad how you can have so much hype around your name and you can go all the way down. Like it's crazy. It's crazy, man. But yeah. I mean, with the youth, we have to accept not all of them are gonna make it, especially at a club like Chelsea.
It's true. You have to have.
Obviously, I do want to see them do well, but trophies come first, and the success of the team comes first. So we'll see who makes it in it, but that's the reality. And we got bears coming through. Like Jack, you were saying how you're disappointed that what's his name, Tomori's gone, but we got Mark Gurhey, who looks...
Oh, yeah, true, from Swansea.
He's at Swansea.
That player we signed from Barcelona as well, Xavier.
Yeah, I was going to say him. Him as well.
Bro, like, our academy is crazy. Our academy right now is crazy.
And we have a lot of... Wait, with that whole Tomori situation, because I always get option to buy and obligation to buy confused. So, say now we were like, we want Tomori back after his loan. Can we say that? Or did they have the priority to sign him?
That's if they have an obligation, that means they have to sign him. An option is if he's good enough or not for them and they want to sign him, yes, they can. If they don't want, they essentially get first. Once he comes back to us, they get first. They pick, basically.
But if you say we want to keep him, we can keep him. That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I think so, because I think it's only an option to buy.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. Because people say, he can go to AC Milan after. I always thought it's obligation to buy when you have to sign him.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, it's always down to the player, really. But obligation to buy, they have to buy him, though. But option to buy is like, they have the choice if they want to buy him or not.
So would you not say this loan then is actually a good thing? Because he's going to AC Milan. I'm not saying he's going to effectively work under him, but the person that wanted to sign him is arguably one of the greatest centre-backs in football history, Maldini.
Yeah.
Like, would you not say this is a good thing? Him going to AC Milan alone?
I think it's a great move for him, but at the same time, it's if he gets in over Romagnoli or
I think
higher
he won't get
at the moment, especially with how well they're doing.
Yeah.
If he's going to get the game time, that's what's important for him.
But why do you think they would sign him though, just to not play him? That's what I don't understand.
Sometimes situations like that arise. It's like players you sign on loan usually get played, but there's times they just, like Danny Drinkwater went to Aston Villa. Shit example to use, by the way, but he was expected to play and obviously he did not.
Mm-hmm. Danny, drink water, man. What a waste of money.
That's
He's finally
17,
gone.
18. 17,
We-
18.
One day we
window.
have to do an episode about that transfer day, like the
One of the
transfer window.
worst I've ever seen.
I think every single one of them flopped.
Every single one.
Yep.
Wait, Emerson, Kepa. Wait, do we
That
reckon
was the
that
season
No,
after.
season after.
Season after.
Emerson, Bakayoko.
Oh,
Who else? Who else? was there?
Marata,
the fucking main one.
Drinkwater.
Drinkwater, Higuain. Did we sign Barkley that season as well? We signed Barkley.
We signed Barkley. Higuain was the season after, anyway.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Season after, not Higuain.
I think he was the January.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Higuain
it
was January.
it was in Surrey. Barkley was January as well, yeah.
Also, do you know what's funny, ironically, about Sarri? Do you notice how everybody says Mason Mount is Frank Lampard's son? It was the same shit they were saying with Jorginho and Sarri.
Yeah.
Jorginho got so much hate that first season. I never understood it, man.
The first season he was good, but ever since then, I just don't think he's been.
I think he's dead.
Levels.
I think he's shit. I'm sorry.
This season, the past few seasons, I agree 100%.
Like even the. Like, I'm not gonna say I love Tuchel. Obviously, it's been one game in it, but I could see improvements.
Yeah.
My prayer is he does not play Jorginho ever again.
He wants to as well because he wants Jorginho in the team. It's the same with Rudiger.
That's the one that pisses me off. Like I don't think Rudiger's awful in it.
He's not a bad player, but
I just hate
he's
him.
very error prone.
He's the error prone, and you know I hate the people that will fucking shout at you, so you can take some responsibility. But when they fuck up, they don't do nothing. They don't say sorry. They don't do nothing. It's just silence. That's why I fucking hate Rudiger, man. I know you don't like me hating on players, just, but I hate that guy.
It is what it is. It's your opinion, innit? You know the ones. But yeah, man, I think that's it. We covered all the topics. Any final words that we want to say, or
fuck Kappa,
fuck Kepa, fuck Rudiger, fuck Alonso. Was there anybody else? Fuck Jorginho and fuck Arsenal, especially.
Fuck Arsenal and Tottenham.
Yeah, fuck Arsenal and Tottenham. And West Ham.
Quick disclaimer: this does not represent the views of Football Heritage.
Yes, it does.
Represents the views of David Latoma and Jack. So there it is, man. But you know what? Thank you for another episode. Thank you guys for coming on, man. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe in future we'll do this again, man. But you guys know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Follow the Insta in the description below as well. But thank you guys for tuning in. Stay blessed, and we'll see you again soon.